another topic area is once we have our model running in production, Modelbit can be helpful there as well, right? So there's a really popular platform these days, Snowflake. So
Sure.
even like the Snowflake conference, I it's unprecedented how many people I had reaching out to me, people that I know who are VCs or data scientists saying, "Oh, I guess I'll be seeing you at the Snowflake conference." And I was like, "Well, you won't. I don't really deal with that
I
myself."
uh, I just got back actually. We were there. I wasn't there the whole time,
Of
but
course you were.
some of our customers are there. So I will never pass up, especially in these times. An opportunity to shake the hand of a customer, to buy a beer for a customer is not to be taken lightly. So if a customer lets me know they'll be at Snowflake conference, then
Mhm.
Snowflake Summit as they called it, then we went. Also, would be remiss if I didn't mention they're a great partner to us and actually an investor in Modelbit. So it was
Oh,
great to see we were able to catch up with the Snowflake team as well and update them on our business as which they invested in, but more importantly, see our customers. And so we integrate with Snowflake in a variety of ways. I mean, it does tend to have this sort of center of gravity for the company's data platform and the company's data team. And so we were talking about logging, and so we sync the logs into Snowflake, which would be really useful. So we were talking about logging those inputs and outputs. Well, now you want to build a graph of the inputs and outputs, right? Obviously, and you want to compute various like statistical methods you might want to use to check out model drift. And so you could build all that on top of Snowflake. Um, we also allow you to get inferences directly in Snowflake, which is actually really cool. So you might, as part of your daily, sort of rebuild of data or build of data in Snowflake, want to use a machine learning model to calculate something. Maybe you got a new customer and you want to calculate a health score or something like that, or you want to rescore the health scores of old customers, and you want to save that score in Snowflake so that it's accessible to the rest of your business systems. You can actually, every time you deploy a model into Modelbit, it creates a SQL function in your Snowflake warehouse. We also work with Redshift in your Redshift warehouse for you to get inferences from that model, which people find really valuable in these kinds of back office scenarios.
very cool. Why would somebody choose Snowflake versus, say, Redshift?
Gosh, this goes back to my last company. I think you mentioned at the start. We ran a BI company before we started Modelbit, and we spent a lot of time with Redshift and Snowflake. They're broadly similar. Um, Snowflake is a maybe more well known for separating the compute layer from the storage layer, and so that's really nice if you want to, if say you have a relatively modest amount of data, but you need a lot of computational power, or vice versa, maybe more common is vice versa. You want to scale up the amount of data storage you're doing without needing to scale up the number of computers you have actually doing the processing of that data. And so that makes it really nice for really, really large data sets. It's also just modern. It's got a lot of nice, modern web application features, and they are pushing the envelope in a lot of sort of allowing you to do inline Python with their Snowpark feature. They've been advertising a bunch of generative AI stuff in the warehouse at their Snowflake Summit this week. So we like Snowflake, and we're proud to be partners with them.
Very cool. Nice. But for all of these positives around solutions like Snowflake and Redshift that people could be using and running their models from, my understanding from my conversation with you before we started recording is that for the most part, people actually prefer to run their models within their own product.
Data science and machine learning is just moving so fast right now that that's actually my favorite part of being in this space is how fast it's moving. And so, yeah, something that's taking off right now and has become the most popular way to use Modelbit is to deploy your ML models into your product. You may have a product whose main core value. This is really common in like fintech, where the underwriting model, that predicts fraud or anticipates how much credit they should extend to a user, is the core product or the core business model, and they will need that model in their product. Your user signs up for the product, and say they're on a mobile app, they're signing up for a product. The product needs to predict the creditworthiness of the user right then and there. And so they need in their product their machine learning model to run. And it's very common to use Modelbit to deploy those models that way.